Second. Hello, everybody, and welcome into B&T Sports Talk Show. I'm your boy T. Next to me is looking for Granny Sugar Mama, none other than B. How you doing, man? Oh man, we're gonna open up with that a special edition of B&T Sports Talk Show on Saturday, so that we can get all of y'all's response and feedback and some of ours about these games today, man. Yeah. And B, man, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What a first weekend of divisional games.
Oh my gosh.
That was fun, man. That was very, very fun to watch it, man. Too bad the rain kind of really dampened a little bit, but you know what? It's playoff time, so you can't be mad about it.
That's right, man. And what games they were. I mean, in the beginning of the Houston and Baltimore game, it looked like it was going to be close until it wasn't. And then we had another game in San Francisco, or excuse me, in Santa Clara, that went all the way down to the wire. So, man, let's get into it. First, I want to say that, as I was watching the 49ers game, I kept thinking, if the Green Bay Packers somehow find a way to win this game, there will be two things that will happen. One of them is that they will blow up the entire roster and trade their quarterback. That's number one. Number two will be that this guy next to me will have an absolute just apocalyptic explosion on the show because his Ravens got the job done, and he loves the 49ers so much.
I show it. I mean, my face is red, but that doesn't mean I'm rooting for them here.
Yeah, man. Well, so we'll start with the Houston Texans, who lost to the top-ranked Baltimore Ravens 34-10. So this is your team, B. They came in, needed to get the job done, had a bit of a slow start, especially in the first half, where it just seemed they were just a little lethargic offensively, and it was tied 10-10. So I know, of course, you saw the game. What did you think of your boy Lamar Jackson this particular game?
Are we talking first half, or are we talking about the entire game?
Man, I guess we got.
Where do you want me to start with?
Go ahead, go through the game. Let's start with the first half. What
I would say the first half they were a shell themselves, man. They were so indecisive, and you could see that long break. The offensive flow really wasn't there. Houston. I got to give Houston credit.
Yeah.
They really shut down Lamar getting out of the pocket. They really shut down the run defense, and they brought a little pressure, to say the least, to Baltimore's offense here. The thing is just Houston couldn't capitalize on some of the opportunities that they had going into that first half. There, they had a chance to really even take the lead with the field goal until it was missed to end this first half. And you don't see a lot of teams do this, but Houston decided to take the ball after winning the toss. Generally, you want them to defer to get a shot to open up the second half with the scoring opportunity. Yeah. And, it was tough to say for that. But then once that second half kicked off, man, Lamar took the game in his own hand. And this is what we've been waiting to see as far as the progression for Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Your team needed you when it mattered most here. They weren't playing their best. Right. The offense wasn't moving, so he took it into his own hands and ended the game with 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing and 2 passing, and looked like the MVP, that star player that we've been waiting to see from him. Now, that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods about it just yet, because they're still under 500 when it comes to a playoff record under him. But this is a sign that is positive as far as moving forward to the AFC Championship game. The running game got going here. The defense was flying around all game.
Yeah, Queen was just like in everybody's face, pushing. I mean, the dude was all over the place, wreaking havoc. But
that's what you wait for to see is that kind of havoc here. And CJ Stroud just wasn't comfortable in the pocket all game here. He was throwing off his back foot. What you saw in the wild card game, he did not have that same opportunity today here. And it just kind of the more they've started falling behind, the more defeated they started to look here. Because once Baltimore scored 14 points in the blink of an eye, it kind of just it set the tone for the rest of the game on how it was going to go here, and then just that confidence just slowly went down from Houston.
Yeah, well, that defense put a lot of pressure on the Texans and made it so that over time they did feel like they were climbing uphill quite a bit, and that showed in the second half where they didn't get any points going. Like you said, Lamar Jackson showed up, put them legs to use, ran for 100 yards today. So he was doing it all for the offense of the Baltimore Ravens. So had to take over to get his team after after having the bye week and being off for another week prior to that. Started the game really slow, and maybe that was to be expected after having 2.5 weeks off before your next, not only just any game, but a game of this magnitude. But they are heading to the AFC Championship. I do want to give some kudos to CJ Stroud for having such a, this is a kid that had a great season. Still didn't throw any interceptions. Wasn't as accurate as you normally see him. 19 for 33, 175 yards. The Ravens defense again kept him in check. And he made some plays to kind of keep this game close in the first half. But unfortunately, man, it was just too much defense for Houston to overcome. And like you said, over time, especially being a young team, you just keep getting punched, you keep getting punched, you keep getting punched, and eventually you fall down. And I think that's what we saw in this game, man.
Yeah, and you know what? Good for and good to Houston, man. We've been giving them praise all year on how they battled and stayed within the playoff hunt, ended up winning the division and winning a wild card game at home. There's a lot to be said about this team going forward here. To say they will be a destination for some veterans to go to on the offensive side and on the defensive side, to say the least here. So, nothing to be sad about here. As far if you're a Houston fan, just that you saw what a young team does under a
Under
big
pressure.
time magnitude, and
Yeah,
they buckled here, to say the least.
exactly.
It just got too much for them, man.
Yep, exactly,
So
exactly. So let's get to some of the chat. So we got Mama Birdie in here with good evening, boys, and she misses Jimmy G. We'll get into that game in a second here. And Rachel chiming in with your Ravens gear with the Golden State Bridge behind you. Shake my head. You're taking
just talking
some
smack,
slack,
man. That's all my
Oh,
sister does. I love
and
it.
I got
I
some too.
love it.
Apparently, T, you need to lower. You need your ears lowered. Look, Rachel, I don't know why you don't like my hair. I
See,
really
there
don't.
she is with the hair
She
again,
does
man.
not like my hair. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, Rachel. I know my hair. I'm not good at keeping my hair cut on a regular basis. So, and it's the winter time. Cut me some slack. It's cold outside. I need a little bit of fluff. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. I'll cut it eventually. And then finally, Mama Lay with Rach, leave him alone. He looks adorable. Thank you, Mama Birdie. Thank you. I do look adorable. All right,
Oh man.
let's look
Oh
forward.
man.
Let's look forward a little bit, and let's think about the Ravens, who are now in the AFC Championship game, who are going to take on either the Chiefs or the Bills. What are some of the things, like looking at this game, or maybe I'll start. Some of the things looking at this game I think they'll need to improve upon is, one, I think they do need to get their wide. He's definitely going to need to get those wide receivers more involved. Lamar had to
Yes.
had some big plays with his legs. But Zay Flowers, even Isaiah Likely, Zay had 4 receptions, Likely had 2. I think teams are going to start to look at that and think, well, let's make Lamar Jackson throw the ball. And so I think they're definitely going to have to get their wide receivers involved early against either one of those teams, because both of those teams will be looking to throw the ball a majority of the time. So we'll see how that goes, and then also keep that run game going. I mean, they had a good two-headed monster with Justice Hill and Edwards, who churned for a little bit over 100 yards, along with Lamar Jackson. That'd be 200 yards on the ground. So you definitely want to try to keep that going as well. But I think they got to get these wide receivers involved, especially against some, I won't say suspect, but okay corners, okay secondaries for the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the big thing, and you touched on it, is getting that run game going, so Lamar doesn't have to really sit there and be the guy who is going to lead you in rushing, to say the least.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards is going to have a bigger game. But what I was actually kind of liked is I like Dalvin Cook coming in and having a big and breaking off a big run. He had a carry that took him 19 yards, to say the least here. And I bet you Minnesota fans and everyone else is going, where's that
Where'd that
been all
come
this
from?
time?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so establishing the run game and opening up. Now, look, if the Lamar can't get the receivers going, they've had a really good year with him throwing the ball, which is something we have never really said about Lamar, to say the least. Everything is about him getting out of the pocket and extending plays and even just running for it here. But I think what they're really going to need is no slow start in the AFC Championship game. They have to come out firing.
Yeah.
You can't afford to get down. I mean, if it's against the Bills are playing the best football right now here. They've been playing for their playoff lives, and they're firing on all cylinders. Kansas City, we don't know what team is going to show up with Kansas City
No clue.
here, and quite frankly, we don't know what we're going to see tomorrow from them. They have been so inconsistent over the last 5 weeks, where you're going up against a team who's been pretty consistent from the Buffalo Bills here. So either way, whoever you see, you cannot get to a slow start, because we've seen Patty Mahomes turn 14-point leads into 28-point leads. You know, Josh Allen, the dude is becoming like the second coming of Ben Roethlisberger, to say the least here. The way he runs, it just, as long as he doesn't do what Big Ben did, he'll have a pretty good career going forward here. So if you ask who I would like to see the Ravens play in the AFC Championship game, I would have to go with Kansas City, because I think Kansas City's defense is just a little – they don't get to the quarterback as often here. Their secondary isn't that good either. So I think that would really open a lot of D threats for the Ravens. And if the Ravens get into a shootout, that's going to suit them well a lot better here.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at the Bills and the Chiefs as being similar types of teams, outside the fact that, you know, Josh Allen is a little bit more of a run threat than maybe Patrick Mahomes, although Patrick can run when he wants to. I will agree that the Bills' defense is probably a little bit better than what Kansas City has been putting on the field the past few weeks, especially. But that game could go either way. I think the Ravens have a one-up over either one of these teams, and a lot of it has to do with having a top-ranked defense. So they have the best linebackers in the game. I think that they're built to where they can get pressure on the quarterback and stop these teams from running and make them one-dimensional. And so if the Ravens get either one of these teams, they do have the capability of making them just completely be a pass-happy team, which doesn't really cater to either one of those teams. The Bills, although Josh Allen's been playing great, he's had times during the season where he's cratered back into forcing the ball into places downfield that just doesn't make any sense. And then same thing for Pat Mahomes, forcing him into a situation where he's throwing 50 times. Hey, that means there's going to be 40 drops. So that's what I would think. The Ravens, I think, have one up on either one of those teams. Which, no matter which one comes through the door, I'd be very surprised if either one of those teams went into Baltimore and win. Although I will agree, the Bills are playing a little bit better.
Yep.
All right.
Should we get to it?
Let's talk about
this next one.
Let's talk about the butt-clenching game of the evening. A game that was so tough that you could hear a pin drop in the state in Santa Clara at the 49er game tonight. I'm telling you, man, both of those quarterbacks were so tight in the fourth quarter that balls were just flying out of there all over the place. Jordan Love's throwing to people that don't exist. Purdy's throwing the ball to people's knees. One of them was at a catch by Brendan Ayuk, who picked the ball up off his shoelaces. And it really just looked like these two young quarterbacks, were just overmatched in the moment. And then, lo and behold, here came Christian McCaffrey to come and kind of settle the field a little bit, get the ball going on the ground, and really help save the 49ers' butts. But, B, talk to me about this game, man. This did not look like the game I thought coming in. The 49ers did not look like the team that I thought they were. Neither did Brock Purdy. I got to say, and we talked about this was not a game the 49ers won. It was one they survived.
Oh, 100%. They survived this one here. Green Bay started the game running the ball, and they were having a lot of success
They were.
early getting through that. And that had been the Niners' problem for most of the year was they were allowing big chunk plays on the ground here, and they were allowing running backs to really have good games here. Now, they didn't. This was the first time they allowed, I think, a 100-yard rusher in 51 games. So it as crazy as that stat sounds when you watch the way the Packers were moving the ball. They were breaking off some pretty good chunk plays here to begin the game with when it came to running here. The defense is and look, we could blame the weather as far as it goes. It was a pretty wet game today.
Yeah.
But look, both teams had
Tampa
a
Bay
plan.
Buccaneers, the NFL's little engine that could, chugged its way past the wild
in
card
that
round.
first half, going 0 for 3 in the red zone and getting stuffed on a 4th and 1 when you know points are going to be at a premium. And all as gutsy as a call that is, you got to take a field goal. Now, granted, their kicker isn't reliable, and that was on full display as the game went on here. But you got to give the opportunity to him and to build that confidence up here. Points are at a premium when the field is not in a good condition. So when you have the opportunity to score, whether it's a touchdown, whether it is a field goal, take that step and go get that field goal there. And look, he missed 2 field goals, which is 6 points. We can sit there and say it'd be a 27-24 ball game, but that's not the case in this year. He buckled under pressure.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the one thing I'd like to point out is how in the world did the 49ers not know that they were playing on a wet surface? How many 49ers, especially the corners, did you see fall down in this game? Like, everybody's slipping all over the place to the point that on the TV show they're showing guys with cleats, and I just kept saying it in the beginning of the game while watching it. It's like, why do the 49ers look like they're a step slow? And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that for some unnecessary reason, they were not prepared to play in the rain. And it showed, later on they come out with more cleats and shoes for players who are falling down all over the place. They had the touchdown that, the touchdown that Jordan Love threw. I forgot the wide receiver who caught the ball.
The dude was wide open.
Yes, he was just by himself.
Wide open.
Because the safety tried to turn on a dime and get up the field and lost his footing.
Bo Melton. Bo Melton
there you
was
go.
the one that scored on that.
Bo Melton, his only catch. And so it was just interesting to see that the 49ers seemed a little bit unprepared going into that game. Dude, I mean, I have to say, like, this game, if the 49ers nearly lost this game, if they had lost this game, and that would have been the end of Brock Purdy. They would have traded him tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'm being dead serious. And
that kid Thomas in the DB Thomas, they're gonna have to find a way to hide him on the field here.
Oh, he was getting ate up.
He was getting ate up. He had 2 very bad penalties. Yeah. Again, these bad penalties, as young as the Packer team, they could not capitalize on here.
Right.
But dude, he was exposed more than a chick in a Playboy magazine, to say the least, man. And then that's got to be a big concern for the 49ers here, is that they're already thin in that position, and now they're about to get really thin if they keep him out on the field like that.
Yeah, and let's talk about Brock Purdy a little bit here. Brock didn't have necessarily the greatest game. This was not an accurate game, and this is really where Green Bay had somewhat of an advantage, was the fact that they were able to create pressure on Brock Purdy throughout most of the game and hit him, and put him on his backside quite a few times, to the point that through most of the third quarter, it really felt like Brock was scared, and it felt like he was just, trying to get something going and throwing the ball to someone that wasn't there. And it continued up until, I think, 2 throws in the end of the game that he made, where it started to look like he turned the corner. But through most of that game, I really felt like, and Jordan Love too, to be honest, but it really felt like Brock was not ready for that smoke, like that type of intensity, the pressure of that game. How did you see it when you watched him playing that pressure, some of those pressure moments?
I honestly think Green Bay's defense had a lot to speak with it there, because they were getting to him, and even they weren't getting to the sacks there. They made it very uncomfortable for him to sit in the pocket, and to the point where the receivers couldn't get out of their breaks. that pocket collapsed, and the Green Bay got to him a lot, and like you said, they hit him.
Yeah.
Nothing dirty or anything. They made them know that they were coming for him, right?
Right.
And I think that's what kind of made everything uncomfortable here. Now you could point that some of the receivers were off of their routes because you saw Brandon Ayuk have a mishap. He threw a ball to absolutely no one.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a wheel route, and the wheel wasn't there. The route was there, but no wheel was there. And the Ayuk was on the left side of the field. That ball went completely to the right side, and he's yelling at Ayuk like he messed up on the route here. You had who else was there? You had Ray McLeod in the fourth quarter as well. Stop on his route. He was standing there and then broke towards the route here. So half of it has to do with the pressure. The other half, I think, has to do with Green Bay's defense here. You got to give them all the credit in the world for really putting up a fight and giving their offense every opportunity to be in that game. But Brock Purdy made it happen when it needed to happen in that final drive. They got back to the basics here. They got McCaffrey more involved, quick little out routes to say the least here, and they were able to again go down the field and have a game-winning touchdown. It was going to look scary because George Kittle dropped the easiest pass.
Oh, my gosh.
Going to catch all game, and he just dropped it.
Yeah, what was that, my friend? That was almost as bad as the dropped by the Green Bay Packer DB, I don't remember the name, who dropped the ball on the interception that was thrown directly into his hands earlier
in the first quarter.
That was in the first quarter. That was a big play, too. So, Jordan Love unfortunately played a great game. He's a young quarterback. Green Bay did a lot more than what was expected of them. Same could be said for the Texans. Man, it just seemed like they just couldn't find a way to get over the hump. There was that that play in the fourth quarter where Aaron Jones runs for like a 50, 60-yard run, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, the 49ers might end up losing this game. But unfortunately, the kicker... the rest of that drive completely stalled out. And then the kicker, and I like to point out some of the play calling for Green Bay, they were able to kill the Niners with that toss play. They ran it a bunch of times too. That toss play to the running back, one of them was actually went for a fumble, I think in the third, but they killed him with those toss plays. However, they did have some plays where they tried to get a little tricky with the ball. They had one where they tried to throw the ball back and throw it again, and then the quarterback was supposed to, but nobody was open. And it just, some of the plays I felt like were a little gimmicky in the first half. And they kind of went away from the run a little bit too. So I thought once they got more of the run game involved, and Aaron Jones involved in the game in a little bit more balance, that they were able to be a little bit more effective on the offensive end. But it just was a matter of, when the drives that they needed to get scores, they weren't able to do so. And like you said earlier in the game, when they had a chance to kick field goals, well, they went for it. At least that one fourth down play in the red zone, they couldn't come away with points.
Yeah, and can we talk about play calling? What was Kyle Shanahan thinking, putting Jawan Jennings in the backfield next to Brock Purdy on a handoff, and that play going absolutely nowhere?
They were grasping for straws.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I was driving home when they were describing that play, and they were like, what in the world is Jawan Jennings doing in the backfield here? And, and we haven't even talked about it yet, but Deebo Samuel may be out for a good period of time here. Yeah. That was a big loss for the Niners here. He took a pretty good hit to the shoulder area. And they were talking, it's the same injury that Freddie doing the exact same thing. What I'm wondering is, why is Deebo back there when you've got Rodney Bell, you have Ray McLeod, all guys who can handle punts and kickoffs here. You can't just be putting him back there expecting him to break off a big play. It's like being a kamikaze pilot. You're going into a chaos whether once you receive the ball here. So not saying that was all Kyle Shanahan, to say the least here, but I think in these kind of games, you want your best players in their best positions here. And Deebo just didn't need to be back there during that time, and that's when he got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to cover the stats, so Brock Purdy was 23 for 39, so 252 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. So threw the ball a good deal. You ran the ball, looks like about 18 times, including that Jawan Jennings run for
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, of course, was the leading the charge on the rushing end with 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, and almost six yards a carry. So he had himself a game. George Kittle, 81 yards, 1 TD, but Jennings, Ayuk, Jennings had more targets with 61 yards. And yeah, man, this they're gonna have to be a little bit more balanced, I would say, next week, and I'm sure they will be. They threw the ball almost 40 times and ran the ball 18 times. And generally with the 49ers, I'd probably like to see that a little bit more in the 50-50 ballpark, to kind of do what they do on a regular basis. And maybe Debo being out maybe took away some of those runs that they give off to Debo behind, in the backfield, which he does a lot of. But hopefully we see them balance that out a little bit more in this in the next round.
Look, and I know Niner fans were probably thinking that this was going to be a blowout, but like we said, that team had nothing to worry about when they were the Green Bay Packers. That's a young team that went in there, and no one expected. Look, a 9.5-point underdog going into a playoff game. That's very rare that happens. Right. I think that was the highest number out of all of these games here. So there was a little bit of a personal feeling about that there, because they knew they had a good team after dismantling the Cowboys. So you're going to go on the road to the Niners and still be a 9.5-point underdog. Had this team not had some of the blunders they had during the game, we may be having a different conversation tonight to say. Absolutely. So for all the Niner fans out there, look, is it an ugly win? Yeah, but at this point, it doesn't matter. You have to win 3 games. No matter how ugly it's got to be, you got to have it be ugly. You just need to make sure that your team improves in the NFC Championship game, because I can guarantee you, if the Lions play the way they do, and if they are playing the Lions, I really think they're going to get – Tampa Bay almost beat the Niners as well. They stay competitive with the Niners for the most part in the regular season at Levi's when they played each other. And so the Niners have a lot to clean up. On the offensive side of things, there were just too many bad mistakes on that end.
Absolutely. And let's look forward to the upcoming matchup. Well, now, of course, the two teams that they may end up eventually playing is either the Buccaneers or the Detroit Lions. I'm rooting for the Lions, man. I'm rooting for the Lions to pull through and get into the NFC Championship game. They've been playing at a pretty high level all year. The Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. I don't really like Baker Mayfield, but anyway, I'm just gonna not even talk about the Bucs. I'm gonna talk about Detroit. So that matchup, you got the Lions against the 49ers. The 49ers, I think, throughout the season played better ball, but honestly, record-wise, Detroit's they're right there. I mean, they're the same, more or less. What do you think about that matchup, and what problems would Detroit present to the Niners that maybe Green Bay doesn't?
The tight end, Sam Laporta, who had a really good rookie year. I think that would be a really tough matchup for them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, again, another guy who no one really talks about, had a really good season this year as well. And Jared Goff is still a really good quarterback, to say the least here, and he has revived his career being in Detroit. They do have a good stable of running backs with David Montgomery as well. Yeah. Their defense is the only thing that kind of concerns me, because they've been on and off, to say, and right now is not the time to be a little inconsistent when it comes to the defensive. And Aiden Hutchinson is probably going to have to really mirror what Nick Bosa does on the opposite end of the ball here. So I think that Lions matchup would be interesting here. And I think when you look at the Bucs, you look at them like Kansas City. They're so inconsistent. You don't know what's going to happen here. Right. Their Super Bowl may have taken place last week when they beat Philly, and they could come out absolutely flat. But then you can look at Baker Mayfield, who can just absolutely potentially light it up or just completely clunk himself. There's no real consistency with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm picking the Detroit. That's why I want the Lions to squeak through. I don't even know if we talked about it, but even the last week, whenever the Lions had the game against the Rams, I mean, that had to be a sweet moment for Jared Goff to beat up his own team and walk away with the win there. So hopefully he continues the story into this next game, and we will see. Baker Mayfield is apparently sleeping in the stadium doing a State Farm commercial, so it's all good.
So you always holding that against.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was dumb. They gave the guy a commercial. He didn't win any games. I don't even know why. Why was he there?
He was the number one pick, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I think he was.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean,
comes with the territory.
Yeah. Until Patrick Mahomes started winning games, then they were like, yeah. So about that contract, taking our business elsewhere.
We're both 1-0. Going into, you took the Ravens, right? Or no, you took the Texans.
Yeah, I did take the Texans.
Did you take the Texans on Friday?
Yeah,
man,
I lost.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it. Points. So that was it.
Bet against my team next week as well, please. I would really appreciate that.
We'll see.
Thank you to the Packers for covering that 9.5. Really appreciate that there. And then tomorrow you have Detroit, right?
No, I took the AFC. So I actually have
that's
the
right.
Chiefs. So I might go 0-2. We'll see. Let's see, man. I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident.
I'm pulling for the Lions here. Let's go. Let me go 2-0. I can't go 3-0, but I'll take a 2-0 all day.
There you go.
In a little bit of news, your team your ownership listened to the players for the first time and stuck
AP
with
baby.
Pierce as they turned him into the official head coach. Now the marketing thing they did was absolutely terrible, where they show him walking down the hall and he goes, "Raider Nation, stand up." You guys weren't going to make him the head coach, that would have been awful, man. But hey, that's a big move for the Raiders there, because that's not something the Raiders would have done.
Yeah,
they would have gone out and tried to find somebody here.
I'm just glad that Bill Belichick isn't snooping around the building trying to find some entryway. I'm glad that's not going to happen. I got so tired of the Raiders trying to be the pretend Patriots with all these coaches and players. So I'm glad he's coming back. I think those players show that they were willing to play for this guy even when there was nothing to play for. And I think that's really what you want to see in a coach. You want to see a coach that can motivate players to go run through a brick wall. You know what I mean? And I think that's what he did. He built a great relationship with the better players on the team, like Devontae Adams and Crosby. And I think that helped put him over the top, man. So I'm looking forward to him coming in next season. I'm looking forward to some, probably a quarterback change. Get a new quarterback in there. Light up our offense. I think we've shown that we've got a pretty good wide receiver core. We had a rookie tight end that played pretty well in Mayer this year. You got, and so now you got to do is think about, okay, well, do we keep this quarterback or do we go get us a new one? And I think from there we're off and running, baby. You know what I mean? We just got to make sure the freaking Chiefs don't do anything. Chiefs, just stay the same. Don't go out and get anything. Just remain how you are. You have no money to spend. Don't go sign in, Justin Jefferson or something from the back. Don't do no trades. So but either way, it's gonna work out. I'm just curious to see if Harbaugh ends up in the AFC West as well and takes on the Charger job, and Bill Belichick snooping around coaching jobs so that he can. Does he really want to coach again? I don't know.
Did you hear Atlanta is basically giving him the job? It's just up to him if he wants to go through with it. I don't see him being good in Atlanta, man.
No.
That'd be a terrible thing for him to do.
I think he should just retire. Can we just be done with it?
Look, man, 24 years of coaching, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What else do you have to prove? This is your opportunity to ride off in the sunset, to cap off an amazing coaching career. Whether you want to say it or not, Taj, that's a really good coaching career here for one individual. But
it is.
Yeah. I honestly, something tells me Jim Harbaugh is going to be the coach of the Chargers.
Yeah,
something's telling me, because they're interviewing him again.
Yeah, and it brings him back to California. He was a longtime Stanford coach, and of course coached the 49ers. So yeah, it brings him back to California. He can get out of that cold weather in Michigan. And he's obviously going to be a head coach somewhere. The Chargers at least have the starting pieces where he can really just hop in and get the things going right away, as opposed to coaching Atlanta, where it's pretty much like you got to chop everything down to the ground and build it up. So yeah, I think he'd be a good quarterback, or excuse me, good coach for the Chargers, and with Herbert and Allen, they've got some something to work with over there.
Yeah, it's not a full rebuild for him, so he's got a little bit of something to work with there.
Yeah.
I think the defensive side of things, they have a lot to work on in San Diego here, but I think if he can get himself hands on a quarterback like Justin Herbert here, I think that'd make the transition coming back to the NFL a tad bit better. And plus, I mean, that could help just kind of bolster the AFC West a little bit.
Oh yeah. That's what we need, right? Already got rid of Russell Wilson, so the Broncos could go in the base.
I'm sorry, man, that he got dogged out of there. I get it, but the way they dogged him out of there was pretty terrible, man. That was pretty low for Denver to do here.
Well, what did he say? Let's ride.
Oh, he riding his ass out of there. I'll tell you that.
Oh man, him, Sierra, and their 5,000 children can kick rocks, and they'll be on their way to. I don't know who's next. Who's a team that needs a court? You know what? I better shut up, because he might end up a freaking Raider, and then I got to eat all these words.
Mm-hmm. And then you got to root for the man, sir.
Oh my god.
Hey. Well, since we're still talking football, do you think Mike McCarthy is going to stay in Dallas?
Yeah, they said they're going to keep him. I think they should fire him, but they said they're going to keep him.
They said they're going to keep him, but they haven't even given him a contract yet.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what's a little curious of this situation.
You know what? I think what's happening is Jerry Jones is waiting for the playoffs to play out, and to see if he can maybe shake loose some of those a good coordinator or assistant coach from some of the teams that are remaining. So yeah, I could definitely see the right situation pop up where Jerry goes, you know what, I like that guy, and then he just tells McCarthy, hey bro, sorry man, deuces, good luck on the rest of your career, or whatever. You've never really done anything anyway outside that one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and so. Yeah, and move on. But
I haven't done much since after that.
No, and neither is Aaron Rodgers. Neither one of them.
Bob Myers is going to the NFL now.
Man, Bob Myers is having himself a great time. I mean,
he's a consultant now for the Washington Commanders. Carry this from basketball to football. I don't know how this is going to work.
He's on ESPN every night, chopping it up with people. Talking basketball, looking like the largest guy on the set. I didn't realize he was that tall. And he's having himself a good time. So now he's going to be a consultant, going to get paid by ESPN and paid by, who is it? Is it the Washington Commanders?
It's the Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders. Yeah, they get paid by them too to pretty much just sit in a meeting for once a week or something. Or I don't know.
Basically, be the guy who makes the call whether they should sign that person.
Oh man,
that's what he's going there to do. Is just be the.
Hey.
Oh yeah, maybe we should sign that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know what kind of football experience he had. If he did, I never knew about it.
Exactly, man, and maybe he'll I don't know. He'll bring on a Warriors assistant. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen.
He'll bring on Draymond Green to help anchor that defense.
Exactly. And while we're talking about the Warriors, just want to take some time to give our condolences to the family of Dejan. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but Milojevic. Who died of a heart attack. He was an assistant with the Warriors and assistant throughout the NBA for quite some time. So I know the Warriors Mavs game was delayed due to his death. So yeah, I mean it's that's sad, man. 46 is not old. So our condolences go out to him, to his family, and in the organization.
And it's a scary thing to think about it, man. They were out having a private team dinner with most of the coaching and training staff, and he's sitting there and he has a heart attack, to say the least. And the training staff was there, and there's nothing that they could do about it.
Yeah.
And you're literally watching your close friend, your buddy, your brother, fight for his life in that situation here. And for people who don't know, his role with the Warriors was coaching the big men. Guys like Kevon Looney, working with Draymond, basically the centers for the team here. Now, granted, we don't have any centers, but that was his responsibility here. So it's a tough loss, and not only just for the Warriors, but Nikolai Jokic, he was good friends with him. I believe the coaching for the Toronto Raptors as well, he was good. He was very close to them. So, the Warriors having to try to play back-to-back games and then play that first home game after that sudden loss, I didn't see it happening here.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
This team has already been through enough with the way this season has gone,
right,
to say the least, and now they've got to, try to figure out the rest of this season, knowing that they literally had to watch a staff member on their team pass away in the at a dinner here. But the lesson that this all taught all of us here, and especially with what my family has dealt with over the last years, we're really starting to understand tomorrow's never really guaranteed here for a lot of people here. And so you really have to cherish every single moment, and just never, if you're gonna hold something against somebody, try to work it through before the end all say all, because you never know whether that time is going to come, whether it's going to be tomorrow, it could be a month from now. It just shows you how precious life can be and how short it could also be taken away from you in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
And then we got Saito in the chat. We haven't seen him in a while. We haven't seen Saito in here as well. Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. Let's not jinx that just yet here. We still got one more hurdle to clear, and that's the AFC Championship game. But I mean, look, you got to be confident going into it. But again, it's still, that playoff record still speaks otherwise. And then he goes, as bathroom toilet paper replacers, they can buy their own tickets. B for president. Saito, I hope you're doing well, man. I'm surprised you're up this late, to say the least. It is 12 a.m. on the East Coast in Boston right now. So good to have him. Good to have him here. But man, you ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I want to see this Detroit game. And I guess the highlight really is going to be the KC Bills game, because I really don't know how well KC is going to play. It's going to be in cold weather. The Bills have been playing like the better team, but you know what? If you're playing against a team that has that Super Bowl experience, you just never know. You never know what might come out. So we'll see, man. I'm excited.
How much Taylor Swift coverage are we going to get?
Oh God.
Too much, man.
Every time, she's going to be on TV a lot. I'll just put it like that. I mean, the over-under, I'm going to say it's going to be over 5 times we're going to see Taylor Swift. Every time Travis Kelce touches the ball, football, we're going to see her on TV. It's going to flash over.
Don't let Kelce score a touchdown, because that's going to just trigger everything.
Yeah, she's screaming, to say the least here. She's going to do a halftime show. It's going to be great. I don't know.
Let's see here. And Saito says, how did Patriots fans feel about Belichick stepping down?
I don't care how they felt.
He didn't. I don't think he was forced to step down. They told his ass to get out.
Yeah,
we're done.
Exactly. I don't care how they felt. Honestly, cheaters, the lot of them.
Deflated.
That's right. Just like Tom Brady's balls, deflated. Footballs, that is, folks.
Football, and marriage-wise, all deflated.
Whoa! I didn't want to take shots at the guy's marriage. I was just saying he likes to play with a deflated ball. That's all.
It's not like he watches it, and if he does, thanks for tuning in, Tom Brady.
Oh man! All right. Well, I think that's all we got. But we'll be back tomorrow, so that's not all we got. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to cover the next 2 games and to talk about the matchups for the fall, the next week, where we get our championship games and figure out who's going to play in the Super Bowl. And we're also going to cover the Pro Bowl. That's a lie. We're not going to cover the Pro Bowl. The 2-hand tag game or whatever the hell they're doing over there. Flag football. Oh.
I was kind of against it at first, and then after watching it, it actually wasn't that bad, man. It was kind of fun.
All right. I have to check it out. I gotta admit,
it wasn't bad.
I did not partake at all.
They had those skill competitions in between during it. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I think the NFL did a pretty good one with that one.
Yeah, we'll watch David Carr go out there and throw 9 for 9 and gets a net.
First, he's got to be in the Pro Bowl, sir, and I don't think he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, well, you know how they do all the extracurricular crap on ESPN. We're going to see all the old quarterbacks show up. RG3 is going to be there, running a 40 time for no reason. It's going to be great.
Dude, they should have a bad quarterback competition. So they take the 3 quarterbacks in the NFL with the lowest QB rating and have them have a throwing competition.
Yeah, that would be fun, man. Yeah. Or like I said, man, they should bring back some of the old quarterbacks, throw them out there since it's flag football. You know what I mean?
Have an all-time quarterback between Joe Montana and Dan Marino thrown to the young guys.
There you go. Don't put Terry Bradshaw up there. I saw him today. He looks like he's a wide body these days. He's
he a little bit, but that man did fight cancer. So
correct. Let me
he did fight cancer.
Let me put some spec on his name.
Put a little bit of respect.
Put some spec on his name.
But he's fat.
Oh man, well,
yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, that's gonna do it for us. We will be back tomorrow at 6:30 Pacific time. Don't miss it. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification button. Hit the like button on the video. We appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Have a good one, y'all.